Okay, if you haven't seen, or some of them you haven't, because it's like different on the censored site like YouTube and Facebook. Look at our private sites, the Dr. B VIP. That's going to have all of the sessions, because some of this information is so sensitive that obviously the government that's in charge of the censorship, okay, that's controlled by the companies, doesn't want this information out there, because we're taking it back. Welcome to episode 7. I'm joined by Power Warrior, okay, Diane Kazer. Okay, this gal, pro soccer player, turned functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner, health coach, courage coach, beauty expert. Check out her book, Author of Killer Breasts. She's also developing our protocols in Tijuana at our clinic to help with the toxic breast removal if you've had implants and are seeing negative responses to that. I mean, this gal's brilliant. And Dennis Knill, previous sheriff of Ohio, served 6 years before running for president back in 2012. He's the justice of the state, sheriff of Yavapai County in Arizona, recorder and coordinator for the Arizona Assembly, and leading the way to reclaim sovereignty. Good God, welcome back. I know I should record the introduction, okay, but sometimes people will just see this, and I'm so blessed to know you guys. And I got to tell you, every time I tell people this, because right now in the news, I saw 15 states are now passing legislation to limit the government's emergency powers. They're saying it's illegal to force people to wear masks. Okay, in the public. It's illegal to have the government say that this business is essential or force business closures. Okay, and it's illegal to tell people to isolate if they're healthy. I mean, this is like, basic common sense. But getting those rights are already empowered in us. We don't need to pass laws. We just need to take our rights there, because the rights are already there.
Right.
Okay. Okay, the first question, and this is kind of cool. What does self-governance actually mean, and what does it look like in practical terms?
Okay, self-governance is everybody needs to use common sense. All right, and a lot of people don't do that. Self-governance is we the people. If something goes crazy, like in your county, we'll use the county for instance. The people in the county, in the assemblies, figure out exactly, if something is wrong. It goes to the jurors. They're the ones that decide. The justice just sits there and makes sure that everything goes smoothly. He has no say-so. Okay, it's the jurors that hear the case, hear the prosecution, whatever. And it's just self-governance. You just use common sense, live every day. We live under, the public law and the 10 commandments, and that's basically it. There are no statutes, no, 80 million different laws, regulations, statutes, and, like speeding tickets and, all that other, nonsense stuff that's out there. None of that pertains to us because we're an American nationals. We're American living under the public law.
Wow. Okay, now I heard Ron Paul discuss libertarianism. Okay, right. And he's saying things like it's personal responsibility.
Right.
Don't lie, don't hurt people.
Correct.
And that's a tough concept for people to understand, that personal responsibility, that, if you're you have tuberculosis, you're sick, you're coughing up, you're spitting up everywhere, it's not a good idea to get in a crowded elevator.
True.
That's personal responsibility.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
If you're asymptomatic and have a COVID test, it's okay to French kiss someone. Because the PCR test is completely inaccurate, I mean, it's just, but it's personal responsibility. Now there was one here. Okay. Do you have any insights to the current economic structure and future collapse? Because I mean, it's you can't just keep printing money. Should we invest in precious metals, land, cryptocurrency, real estate, guns, ammo? I mean, What do you think's going to happen now?
I'll tell you a little bit about my experience, and then
go ahead. Go ahead.
So far, and we were just talking about this on our Thursday night call, which we welcome everybody here to come to those calls on Thursday nights at 6 p.m. They're wonderful, like family-like calls. 6 p.m. Pacific time, sovereignnational.us. That's how you can find the link. We were talking about this because I went and practiced shooting guns to see which gun that I liked, and I determined I liked the 9mm. I gave them my American National card, and they said they wouldn't take that card to shoot guns. So you guys have to know too that we're still working on a lot of this infrastructure. So I gave them my driver's license. I ended up getting a gun, but it was a nightmare. So getting a gun in Arizona is much easier than in California and some other states. But every state is, this is what I learned from Dennis, every state is different. I also learned from my boyfriend as far as the laws. And that's actually been something that I believe Anna, and you could speak to this, Dennis, right? That they shouldn't be different in every single state. So I ended up,
they are though, because each state is its own nation.
Right.
Okay. Right now. So, but everything will be, I mean, you can't go against the Second Amendment, which is, your right to bear arms.
Yeah. And it took me, I got the last of the kind of gun that I wanted, which is a special edition Kimber, beautiful Tiffany blue, and just came in the mail, but I ended up spending about $1,100. The first time I found it was $800. So guns are going up significantly, and each round is $1 something, $1.50.
Wow.
Yeah, it's gone up like 3 times in the last, I can't remember how many years, year and a half, but it's insane. And same thing for horses and saddles, and supply and demand structures are going crazy. Inflation's over 10%. Yeah, I'll pin it over to Dennis because he has a lot more to say about the guns, because I just learned this process myself as being my first gun as a woman, but I felt like I needed it.
What caliber is it?
It's a 9mm.
It's $1 a bullet for a 9mm now?
Yeah, it's over $1. I'll show it to you. Let me go grab it. While Dennis talks.
Be careful.
It's not loaded, Dennis.
Good.
Man, because I've got thousands of rounds of ammo. Okay.
Didn't say that on this video. People will come over to take them from you.
well, pretty much if somebody has thousands of rounds of ammo, they probably have a way to propel that ammo.
Yes, they usually do. Yep, very true.
I take an easier target.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh my God. Okay, that's pretty.
It's perfect for a woman, and I have it for when I need it, and I practice it, and I've shot guns almost 10 times now. So yeah, I think it's important for all of us to consider. And I just did another show about this too, on how people think oh, guns, it's only for people who are crazy, or it's not for women, but it's very important right now just to have these things, because I think the production cycles are also going to really shift moving forward as well. Supply and demand models are just all over the place right now. So get it while you can. And I'll hand it over to Dennis now.
Well, the best place to buy guns and ammo is at yard sales. Okay. They may know that the prices are up there. Okay, for instance, I went and bought a shotgun over the holiday weekend. As a matter of fact, the guy had signs up over here in Sedona. It says guns, tools, camping equipment, etc. And the guy was really funny. He's lived here for a long time, like I have. And we get there and we didn't see any guns. I went with my son, and he actually had them still in the box, and he bought them, and he was selling them for $500, and it was a semi-automatic shotgun. Looked like the Army rifles, the AR-15s or the M16s, and I says, well, I don't know if I want to do that or not. And I says, oh, what the heck? And he had 2 of them. Well, he actually had 3 rifles, and the other one was an 8mm. And he wanted $300 for that and $500 for the other 2. So I'm thinking, $1,300. And I'm going, I don't know. I says, well, you take 1,000. And he says, oh, I don't know. I says, okay, $1,050. He goes, all right. So I got him, and we came home and checked the prices, and we found his receipt. So anyway, I picked up the three for $1,050. And trying to buy ammo for them. The 2 of them were shotguns, semi-automatic shotguns, and shotgun shells you can get just about anywhere. But if you go to yard sales or estate sales and so on like that, and you ask them for guns, and they have them, usually they're gone before they even open it up, because it goes to family and friends and whatever. But that's the best place, because you can always get a the best deals at yard sales or garage sales or estate sales, because sometimes people don't know what they're worth. Most people do, but they're so underpriced at those yard sales. When you buy a gun, it's going to be, you know, $400, $500, $600 or more, and ammo, it's $1, $2 a round. It's just going crazy. Now I went, you know, I thought it was crazy when it was, you know, 50 cents a round. I had gotten mine like you, Dr. B, a year or so ago, and I was paying like 20 cents a round. So I made out like a bandit. So I've got a nice little stash too.
Now,
So,
what
yeah.
about like the financial stuff, like cryptocurrency, metals?
Cryptocurrency it's a currency made up. I mean, yeah, it's selling and stuff. One of them just totally crashed, left some guy completely broke. I can't remember which one it was. But the cryptocurrencies, it's not backed by anything. You know, it's two guys says, hey, let's make a coin. I'll buy yours if you buy mine. And that's how it started. There's nothing backing it, just like the military script that we're all using. It's not backed by anything, but people are accepting it. So the best thing to do is buy silver and gold, ammo, food, supplies, water, because you don't know what's going to happen. And it can get crazy because things are changing and are changing rapidly.
Yeah. The
Okay.
water
So
aspect
you may want to stock up for
Yeah.
at least a week or two of food, water, just in case, because the internet may go down, the electricity may go out. If you have a fireplace, God, we know it's hotter than hell outside right now. But if you need to cook something that the power's out, what do? You know, you light up your grill, you know, whether it's charcoal or lighter fluid or gas or whatever it is, but make sure you have enough of that stuff for a good week to 2 week, you know, supply or more if you can. But that's what I would do. And as far as real estate and so on, you know, I was over in California when in San Diego between 2004 and 2008. And that's when everybody says, buy a house. It's only $500,000. And then you have to tear it down because it wasn't worth it. And then you rebuild on it. And I said, this can't last forever. All right. And it didn't. It crashed. All right. So now, because people can't afford $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 a month for a rent or a mortgage payment, they just can't do it unless they're multi-billionaires. All right. Like everybody here on the webinar. Anyway, but yeah, so you want to buy real estate, try and get something to hold on to it. But what's coming in the future, it may go back to prices back in the early 2000s.
I've got a significant chunk of holdings in gold, silver, and platinum itself.
Right.
And lots of research on that.
Get that. Yeah. Any precious metals or anything like that, stay away from paper currency, because their big excuse was, you know, paper currency, it's much lighter to carry in your pockets than coins. Well, so are, you know, credit cards. But, you know, if stuff goes south, then, you know, at least you're prepared to have some cash with you. Keep your money out of the banks, whatever you do. Yeah. Put it in physical, gold, silver, precious metals, and some cash. But get it out of the banks.
And these are all the things I started learning when I got into, you know, the sovereign movement. So it's like, once you get into this community, this is the culture of all the things we talk about. So you don't have to go do a ton of research on your own. You just come into the community and we're all watching each other's backs and different elements of how you can protect yourself and how you can build your wealth and protect it at the same time.
I like that. I think that's the only way we can take back the 4 foundational pillars. Okay, the General Assembly, Executive Assembly. When you've changed your status, okay, and let's say that I want to organize Orange County,
right?
And all of this is laid out on the websites to where, you know, we just vote. We get, you know, say 10 guys together or 10 people together.
Yep.
We're going to form this. We call existing assemblies in the state.
Right.
Do we? What's the best way to do that? Like, how to start?
Well, the best way, since you basically start off by yourself, okay. But when I did anyway, there was like, I don't know how many people here in Yavapai County, but I think there were 4 or 5 of us, and we just kept talking to people and, showing them this and become an American national, become independent and free. And we just kept talking to people, and more people, saw the picture and came on. And now we've got, I'm not sure how many in Yavapai County, maybe 100 or so. And so, yeah, you just hold a vote. And you can vote for, who's the coordinator in your county or the chairman, who's the clerk, who's the treasurer, who wants to be the sheriff, things like that. And then you have like bi-weekly calls or, monthly calls or whatever to keep the assembly going and keep bringing people in. And then somebody becomes a recorder, and somebody's a justice, and then you have enough for a juror, and then you can open up your general assembly, and then your general assembly. And the general assembly is everybody in your county or in your state, because the state has a general assembly call of everybody from, all the different counties. So if you want help, you could contact your state chairman or state coordinator, and they will give you help and some pointers. And maybe, they have some stuff drawn up that they could, ship on over to you by email, and how they've been setting things up, and just stay in touch with, Anna, and the newscast and the broadcast and the podcast like this and everything else. And you just keep learning, and it just keeps going, and everything continues to build. And before you know it, it'll be jam-packed, and you'll have tens of thousands of people in your county. And then you are the lawful government. And nobody can stand up to you, and nobody can censor you, and nobody can, say, no, you can't do that, because it's all statutory laws and it doesn't apply to us. The common law and the public law will prevail. And that's why we are here, to bring it to fruition.
I like that. The Thick Red Line Project.
Mm-hmm.
What is that?
The thick red line it's basically, if there is no victim, there's no crime. All right. So the thick red line was developed by a couple of guys. I can't remember their names offhand. They live here in Arizona. There you go. And they made that up, and they're passing it around, and it's going around. It's completely around the United States. Most of the assemblies have their booklets and their cards to hand to police officers and so on. And the police are so busy with other things, they don't need the nonsense things of jaywalking, unregistered license plates, just stupid stuff. Shoplifting, it's like, it's a lot of the different things that they do 90% of the time that they don't need to, because there's no victim, there's no crime. Mm-hmm. Okay, if you're speeding down the street, is it a crime? Have you hurt anybody? No, you just got caught speeding. A victimless crime. So if there's no victim, there's no crime. But the cops in their fantasy world are saying, oh, you hurt the state by speeding. It's like, give me a break. Go get a life. Nobody's out here. What's the matter with you guys?
Well, I mean, the premise of it is that if somebody doesn't have insurance, which is why there's a huge fine for not having insurance, then because you are their property, according to your birth certificate being corporatized from the time of your birth, right, you are a liability to them. If you're speeding, then you have a higher odds of injuring somebody. And because you are their liability, without insurance especially, they would have to pay for it. So they're essentially parenting you with these victimless crimes, like, oh, you should stop doing that because it's dangerous to us. It's dangerous to our queen and the Pope, who then would have to fork out the billions of dollars that they've already made on us to pay for this said victimless crime, like Dennis said, which is a big portion of the calls that they have to make.
Yep.
That makes so much sense.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and I'll tell you something too.
Because I mean, it's like if you're going 35 and a 25 and there's nobody around, and you leave a 35-mile-an-hour speed. You know, I mean, that's just, it's speed traps. It's ridiculous. It's stupid rules that don't make sense.
And it's also part of the mandated masks, which they have been governing us. And I've had the cops called on me over 5 times in the last year and a half, which I wear with a proud badge of honor because I'm not going to wear a mask. I own myself. God owns me. That's it. And I have a medical exemption. So one time we were in Flagstaff, very liberal state or city in the state of Arizona. And it's not about liberal and conservative, whatever, but it's about there's a lot of people living in fear. They're wearing masks. And we were not one of them outside. And the store we were at called the cops on us. And the cops came to have a conversation about like, what just happened here? We were like, well, we refuse to wear masks. And he's like, well, this company here reserves the right to mandate that you wear a mask. I'm like, do they own this property? And I learned this from Dennis. Do they own this property? And also learned this from another advocate in Sedona, because we meet often as a community to learn our rights. And it's because of the new language. So I knew to say, does this person own the land until in the building they're operating this business in? No. Well, then this is illegal and they cannot mandate these things on us.
Really? If somebody's renting, okay, but they're running a business, but if they don't own the building, they can't mandate it?
Yep.
No.
Exactly.
The governor can't mandate it. No one can mandate it. It's not a law.
I love you guys.
A mandate is not a law. That they can't enforce it. But then, of course, you know, all of a sudden, hey, well, we'll write a code for that. That's why the assemblies have to really build to put the legislatures in place. We can go in there and sit in on their legislative, but I'm not going to drive down to Phoenix, especially in the summer. I mean, it's 110 here. It's got to be 120 there.
It is.
And it's like, and then they'll say, well, you can't come in because we're in session. Well, so were we in session, you know? Okay. It's like, who in the heck are you to tell us who we can and cannot do? Because we're the lawful people on the land. And your rules and regulations don't apply to us. In fact, we own your charters. We can shut you down, liquidate your corporation. And the more people that we have, the faster we can do that to help these companies that are out there to harm people and property.
And this is exactly when...
Diane, what was the end result of that interaction that you had?
I was just going to say is that I was with my boyfriend who is, he's a courage father, let's just say, also. And, you know, between me and him, his daughter got to see and she's 12, she got to see what it's like to stand up for your rights. And so it was awesome. My heart was racing because this stuff's never easy. Anytime that cops are called on you, you're still like, eh. Eventually it starts to become like, here comes the parent, the unsolicited parent again. And so we had a conversation with him. And I said, no, this is actually illegal and you cannot mandate this. And I also have an exemption. And so, but even if you didn't, you can still say this, you guys. So I had these cards, my boyfriend had these cards, which are the cards, the thick red line cards that you're referring to, which say this is a victimless crime. We do not reserve the right to come question our right to breathe. And so my boyfriend handed it to him and he said, I suggest that you read this, that you go to the website and you read more about the whole, who you work for and what our rights are and the Constitution and what you signed up to do this job for and to really understand what you're doing it for now, which are 2 totally different things. And I said, I would love to have a conversation with you. I'm friends with the sheriff of Sedona. We'd love to unite you to bring you into the film of what we're doing over here so that we can unite and come together. That's also a part of what the Thick Red Line Project is to say, hey, cops, let's get rid of this stuff. Let's be friends. Let's be friends and let's unite on what true protection means because we need you and you need us. So why do we keep serving something outside of ourselves that does not care about our health? And so we tried. He's like, well, we could talk another time, but I'm not interested in having this conversation right now. And there's all kinds of people standing around us, just like, and this is what my boyfriend said after the cop walked away. He said out loud to all of the fans that were watching us, he said, if this was a crime, don't you think we would all be in handcuffs right now? Take your masks off. This is all a scam. So we just went back to the car and didn't pay that business our service. And that's all it takes, you guys, is to have the right knowledge and to have the right vernacular and to have the proof and to stand up for your rights, because you will not get thrown in jail if you truly feel and embody the art of sovereignty. They can't do this to us.
bitching. Oh my God. Did anybody take their mask off?
Anybody else around us?
Yeah.
We kind of put our head down and looked around. We were like, whoa, it's hot. Where are we? What world are we in? But there's been several other incidences where that has happened. And people came up to us, or me when I was there, and they're like, I'm so glad that you just said that. This is ridiculous. And this is how we all unite. We find our people this way. But yeah, there's been other times where people have said, thank God you just said what you just said. I hate wearing this thing. I'm like, yeah, it just takes you learning your rights. That's all it is. Because we just think that people are afraid that they're going to get thrown in jail. Because when a cop comes, they're like, oh my God, we're in trouble. And then that all starts from, the programming at a very young age, which this book talks about. The guy that's involved in the Thick Red Line is also involved in this book. And he talks all about that, is how at a very young age, we've been indoctrined in school. We've been put into a cult that teaches us to shut up and to obey and to stop asking stupid questions or any questions at all. Stop questioning any authority. It started a long time ago. So you've got to go way back to when you were a student and to realize that we've been put under that programming from the age of school, really, 4. And even before that, our parents' programming, because our parents are just, preaching the same language, which is that we have to obey and that we're not sovereign beings and you have to pay taxes and do your part.
Wow. So the crime's victimless.
Yeah.
No one gets hurt.
Right.
Okay. I mean, they can't prosecute. I mean, that makes so much common sense.
Yeah.
And they don't have a right to impinge. Oh my God. Okay. This is, to say a little bit exciting. Hey, one of the things that it's one of those things that doesn't make sense. Okay. Can sovereigns expect to receive debit cards for the credit to pay off their debts? Now, when we talk about all the taxes that have ever been paid, okay, by all my relatives, okay, and the property and stuff that we're purchasing from, God knows who. Dennis, you've said a couple of times that the government owes us millions.
Billions.
Trillions.
Billions. Billions.
Trillions.
Where? What? I mean, because if I'm going to ask about a debit card on an account of money that's owed to me by the the government or who's ever in power now, where does that money come from? What does that mean?
Okay, it all started way back in the 30s, when I can't remember who it was. I think it was one of the Roosevelts, and they took and said that the people could no longer have silver and gold. So they took the money dollar for dollar, gave us their paper script, which we refer to as military script. And it was $1, and they changed it for $1 in gold, $1 in silver, whatever. And then of course the real actual factual money, the silver and gold, continues to rise in amount and so on like that. And the script is only worth 4 cents, and there's nothing backing it. And so your labor, you are not actually being paid for. You're just trading credit. You're trading debt, because the debt note is only worth 4 cents. Are you worth 4 cents an hour if you're getting $1 an hour? No. Okay. So the debt keeps piling up, and they never give us any credit. So in a system like that, you have to have both sides for it to work. You have to have a credit side and a debit side. So Anna is in the process of doing the banks, Anna von Reitz, worldwide. Now, all of the labor debt from us and from our parents and our grandparents and great-grandparents has been building up. Hence the birth certificates, which are bonds that they have been trading with other corporations to make money off of our birth certificates, baptismal certificates, all those other different certificates, and they're making money on those. And we're being, out there to just dry up and blow away. And they don't want us or give us any of our interest paid or our debts paid. They just keep charging us more and more and more. Anyway, it has a lot to do with the bonds. And Anna says that a typical or average American in the United States is worth, now I'm glad you're sitting down, because she usually asks people what they think their net worth is. And people, calculate for a little bit, and then they think, well, I own this car and that house and so much money in the bank and IRAs and whatever, blah, blah, blah. Oh, about 350, 400, maybe $500,000. And she estimated with the people that are in the United States now that each person is worth $40 billion. That's credit that is owed from us being ripped off by all of the government agencies.
You want to see this?
Yeah.
I can share my screen and show you something if you'd like, Dr. B, so you could all do this at
hell
home.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay, here we go. This will piss you off, to say it lightly. So here we go. Share screen. So Dr. B, you could do this on your own computer. I don't want to ruin the Wi-Fi or anything, but let's just look at this.
There you go.
Okay. You see this? You can go to gmeiutility.org. And I'll just go back here. Well, I don't want everybody to see my social. But right here in this little magnifying glass, you type in your social with the dashes. And here's all of the bonds traded on Diane Kazer currently, 1,157 times in Canada, Norway, Japan, Germany, France.
Wait, what is that?
It's why we're worth billions of dollars.
What do you mean traded? What are these numbers?
Go ahead, Dennis.
Those are numbers off of your birth certificate. They use your credit to boost their corporations, and they don't give you any money for it. Your birth certificate is a bond. You are a corporation, and they could use your corporate credit, okay, and keep you in the hole and make tens of billions of dollars on you every day. And these are just some of the companies that are trading on Diane's number. 1,157 corporations.
Yep. Yesterday was 1158. So sometimes the corporations, you can see right here, it says lapsed, active, retired, issued, active. This makes me feel completely like raped is the word. Raped.
Yeah. And wait a second. Okay. So they're buying and selling your debt or credit or
your credit. Yeah. Because they're keeping us in debt. They're using our credit that has accumulated from us, our parents, our grandparents, our great-grandparents, brothers, sisters, uncles, everybody. And everybody who has a birth certificate or social security number is traded like on a stock market. They treat us as cattle.
Mm-hmm. CUSIP. Wow. But this whole vaccination thing is now they have an official tracking device on us. So they've been tracking us for a long time in our productivity. So anybody can do this, go to that website there. It said that, from the time that we're 20 until the time that we're 40, we're worth about $1 million. So that's how much they start the bond with when you're like, I can't remember what age that is, if you can confirm that, Dennis, but they know that everybody on average earns like $50,000 a year from the time that you're 20 and when you graduate college until you're about 40. So they know that that's what you're worth, and that's what they estimate you about as far as your value, and they trade you on all these markets.
Are you ready for this, Dr. B?
Yeah.
When you go to a bank and get a mortgage on your house, all right, they play their games back and forth with well, we don't know, we're going to have to charge you this interest and so on like that. As soon as that paper is signed, they go to your credit and the house is paid for. But they are double dipping by making you pay interest on a loan that isn't transferred anywhere to them for the next 30 or 40 or 50 years. So they're double dipping.
Does it make you wonder about the housing markets right now when people are just paying cash for $1 million homes left and right, and you're wondering why they're all coming from other countries like China?
Wow. It's going to take me a while to wrap my head around that because, I mean, I'm the youngest of 4 kids from a single mom. So, you work, you get paid. And I understand the taxes are just ridiculous. I was pissed off that 16 when I first had to pay like $40 in taxes, and I thought, why are you taxing a 16-year-old? It was like it irritated me. It still irritates me. But that so if they're buying and selling our debt or our credit, what's
they're paying us in debt notes because it's not worth anything. But all the corporations and all the businesses will take that script money, even though it's not worth anything. So everything has to be dealt on an even keel, debt versus credit.
Yeah.
There has to be a balance. Okay. So we're the negative side. The corporations are the positive side. They're taking our credit and going out and having parties and making tons of money and keeping us in debt.
Yeah, because I've seen like when you're talking about like the national debt, everybody's born with like $50,000 or something per person worth of a debt, of the trillions and trillions of dollars they're spending.
Right.
And that just is wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So this prepaid credit card is, they're going to send it out with it. They just don't want, it's going to go to American nationals because the Americans nationals, they're no longer the corporations because they've changed their political status to be free people. All of the U.S. citizens will not get those cards until they change their status. So when that actually happens, which is coming up soon, there's going to be an influx from, say, 100 people a week to about 1 million people a week.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So because everybody's going to want their money, because then you could take your card and you can pay your utility bills, you can make your car payment, you can make a house payment, and it's going to be like on a monthly thing that they put in there. So they just don't give you $40 billion because everybody who did that would crash the economy. Nobody would work anymore. There'd be no services. There'd be no oil drillers, refiners, everything. It would just stop because everybody would be filthy rich, and you wouldn't be able to buy anything anymore because there's nothing left because nobody's making it.
Oh yeah, we're seeing destruction of America right now just on stupid $1,200 stimulus checks.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody wants to work. Workers. I can't find workers.
Neither can I.
It's tough. There's like now hiring signs everywhere, all over the place, and businesses and restaurants are no longer even operating in Sedona. They're not even, like, a lot of them are not having guests in to dine in. It's only takeout, and it's like 3 days a week out of 7. The writing's on the wall.
Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. We're going to wrap up this session because this has been wild.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to review this session.
Right. Exactly.
Okay. Do you have any final words for people that are out there for just to give them courage and hope that they can do this?
Yeah, the courage aspect, I think right now, there's just videos floating around of the reality of what's happening overseas. And, look no further than Denmark to see where the New World Order is anchoring in the new ways that they want to control us. And Denmark was one of the most free countries that there were in Europe. And now it's completely flipped, and they're tracking, tracing, and terminating them for not obeying. They're not wearing a mask through the streets. This is the path to reclaim our sovereignty. There's no other way right now. We have to be free. We have to claim it. It's literally suffering or sovereignty, and slavery in suffering. And when you look to Heathrow Airport, look at Heathrow Airport. Go do some research on what's happening right now in Heathrow Airport in London, which is where I used to live. I went to school there. So to see one of the biggest airports in the world being used as a, dare I say, constant something facility. I know it's censored, but some people get triggered by this because they say it's like anti-whatever. But this is happening all over again. History is repeating itself.
Wait, what is happening in Heathrow?
They're using it. If people want to travel from, like, I have several friends in America. I just interviewed somebody for my own show, which is called Seeking and Speaking Inner Truth. And she came here to Sedona from Ibiza because Spain was in such lockdown that you guys can go listen to this. We can link it in the show notes. She couldn't even leave her home over a 2-month period. One of her friends and her were walking through the streets actually they were like walking in the fields, and a military drone followed her friend and took her and punished her and fined her $800 for walking outside. So these are the things that are happening in Europe, and that's where the New World Order is getting anchored in. And if America doesn't wake up, we're next. So that's like the test pilot and the anchoring in. They're seeing how much we're going to stand up, and they've now already gotten to see how much we're not, and we're willing to just obey and mask up. That is the metaphor for keeping our mouths shut. And they're seeing people still going along with that. How many people got jabbed? So now if you want to fly, several of my friends flying to the UK, to Europe, one of my friends from Costa Rica to Scotland, where he's from, where his family and heritage is, he has to pay $3,000 plus to get there, to be in detention for 10 days, which is quarantine. And he has to be PCR'd to make sure that he is not viral the entire time that he's there, but he has to pay to be in prison. That is, and I'm saying prison, but it's quarantine, but it's prison. So they're using Heathrow Airport as a place, and you could watch the people walking around. They're walking around in circles like they're prisoners, and they're social distancing, and they're watched and tracked and traced by these people, and they're just travelers trying to get home.
My God, they're held at the airport?
Yeah, they're using a part of the airport. So look at all these empty buildings. Look at these empty warehouses. Look at, huge Walmarts, which, martial law, Walmart, I don't know, maybe that's just, coincidence. I don't know. Maybe it's a conspiracy, who knows? But martial law, Walmart, huge buildings, huge like detention facilities, huge performance areas where they used to have, basketball games or concert halls. These are big areas that they can quickly turn into prison camps if we don't obey. And it's happening left and right. It is not just these, made up videos.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't have an option. You've got to go for Sonberg. We got to get her. I mean, this is not the FEMA camps. This is the reality.
Right. And it's heading toward that. So we have to get off our butts and do something about it. Become an American national. Go to the American States Assembly.net and contact your state coordinator and get going with the assembly and volunteer and get these offices and positions filled. We have to do it.
So when you get that knock on the door, that says, "Where's your vaccine passport?" You can go, "What?"
Exactly.
Or if you're Diane, you can go, "What?"
Well, hello.
Or you can go with this.
Okay.
How can I help you?
I love you guys. You are amazing. We got to get this session on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And just keep up. The courage of confronting people. The courage of not wearing the mask. To just live what's right in your heart. And we're going to get our world back.
Exactly. We have to.
Oh, God bless you both. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You too. See you next time.
See you next time. God bless you.
Be free, everyone.
Take care.
If you can hear my voice, you are part of the resistance.